So they say problems come in threes, and planning for retirement at 55, they're not wrong. Yeah, it's been quite a couple of weeks. It really has. So this video is not going to be about, it's not going to be a rant. It's going to be a little bit about some problems that we've encountered, some issues, how I've managed to get over them, and what we're doing going forward. Just to get you up to date, if you're new to the channel, my name is Steve. I'm looking to retire. My wife and I are looking to retire next year when I turn 55, when I can access my personal pension. We're going to be selling our property, getting the equity out, and putting the whole lot together and living off of that in a motorhome while we travel around Europe. In our motorhome on the road, with the ultimate goal of purchasing a property in France, which we may then get a visa and live in France. That is the ultimate plan. It might change a little bit around that. So for those who have been following already, obviously you know that I'm documenting my journey on YouTube, and I have been doing so for the last couple of months. It's only a couple of months, really, 2-3 months. I'm really enjoying it. I'm learning a lot. It's forcing me to really knuckle down and get the figures right, work out our plans and everything else. If I wasn't doing this channel, I probably wouldn't go into as much detail. So it's actually really helping us plan for this big change in our lives. However, as some of you may have seen, or in fact you probably may not have even noticed, but I noticed checking my analytics on my YouTube, and the views have absolutely dived on the channel. Now I know this happens to all creators at some point on YouTube, but I really wasn't expecting it. Yeah, so while we've been building the channel, it's been growing very, very quickly. We've got a lot of subscribers fairly quickly, a lot of views, and it really looked like the channel is actually kind of rocketing forward. And then all of a sudden, the other day I was just looking at my numbers, and it looks like YouTube has kind of got the channel, dangled it over a cliff and let go. And we're now plummeting in views and subscribers and everything else. I think I may have found the reason for that, and I'm going to cover that in a second, because there's an upside to all of these downsides, right, if you look for them. So yeah, there's that. It won't stop me, obviously, still posting stuff on YouTube and everything else. I'm still going to carry on doing exactly the same as what I've been doing, just might be doing it in a slightly different way as well, trying some new things. So the other big issue I had was I do delivery driving, and I use a company called Deliveroo, which you probably all heard of, and we have an app, and I get orders from various stores around my neighbourhood, and then I go and pick up those orders and deliver them to the customers, and I get paid for it, albeit pittance, but if I do enough in a day, it gives me enough to pay my bills, and it's very flexible, and that's why I stick with it rather than a full-time job. It's a lot less stressful, so no brainer. I can switch off at the end of the evening. However, there's been a big drive, there's been a major influx of illegal workers working for Deliveroo, because they can buy accounts off Facebook, not go through the usual background checks, and they can go out and anyway, it's big competition to me. So the government and Deliveroo have been working together, a great big crackdown where they've been asking for ID for everyone. And the irony is that my ID, they've turned around and said, your proof of address is not in your name. You need to submit something else. Now, of course it's in my name. It was a council tax bill which is in joint names with my wife. So it clearly has my name on it, but because there's joint names, they're not accepting it. So in the meantime, they've threatened to revoke my account. Meanwhile, all these other people that have bought accounts on Facebook are still able to work. So yeah, all a bit bonkers really. But there is an upside to this, which I'm going to cover in a second. Apart from the upside that I've only got about 7 months left before I can start having a bit more choice in what I do for a living. And then the other issue, I mean, there are many more issues, trust me, but these are the kind of 3 major ones that have happened in the last couple of weeks, was I was going through my spreadsheets and looking at some numbers for something else that I'm planning, and I'd made a major error on one of my spreadsheets where, without boring you with the details, basically it kind of blows out a lot of my lump sum, whereas I thought I'd managed to work out how I could protect my lump sum and live off the income from the investments and everything else, and have the lump sum actually gaining money. That's not actually the case, so it will actually dwindle my lump sum until we get my wife's pension in 7 years time, but there's still some positives on the back of that anyway, which I'm going to come to in a sec. Right, so YouTube, sorting out the YouTube, it looks like YouTube are testing my channel with a new system for discovery, and that's called Hype. Now, I know some of you are ahead of the game, because you've already been hyping some of my videos. Thank you very much, appreciate it. But you know more than I do about it. Basically, Hype is a new system that it helps YouTube channels with under 500,000 subscribers, small channels. I mean, can you imagine 500,000 subscribers? Your viewers, if they're subscribed and they're on the mobile app, sometimes, if they haven't rolled it completely out yet either, but some of you will have the option to click hype to a video, and you get 3 hypes per week for various people you're subscribed to. And some of you very generously already have used your hype, or one of your hypes for that week, to hype my videos, and so I really appreciate that. Didn't really know what it meant at the time, but what it does is the more hypes what I get on a video, the more points I get, and then that puts it onto a league table that pushes your videos out and shares our retirement journey amongst more new viewers, if you like. So that's what they're doing, because I can see on my stats that as soon as hype was introduced, my normal impressions and views just dropped off a shelf, and so they kind of switched over to hype. So if you do want to support the channel and you want to see the channel prosper even more, but smash that hype button. People will say smash the like button, smash the subscribe. You can do all of that. That would be great. You do have to be subscribed as well, though, for hype to actually come up for that video. If you can share one of your hypes, that would be awesome. I may do an update later as well, letting you know how that might have changed things. Hopefully it will. So that's the good news. I think, we've found the issue. Plus also September, everyone going back to work and after the holiday period and kids going back to school and stuff like that. September is apparently a bit of a low month, and things should pick up on the lead up to Christmas, hopefully. So back to the Deliveroo issues. I have uploaded, I've raised a case with them and everything else, so I'm sure it'll get all sorted out. And the interesting thing is, I was out just the other day on the bike on my e-bike doing some deliveries, and I came across a motorhome for sale just down the road from me, and it was up for just short of 20 grand, and they wanted a near offer. But my point is this: I've had a few comments saying you're not going to get a motorhome for 20 grand that's not going to fall apart. Well, that kind of really deflated me for a little while. I was thinking, oh well, I can't afford a new motorhome. It's not going to happen. So perhaps we'll have to stick with the caravan. That's going to cost us more and everything else. But no, I'm sticking with my guns, because I have also had some great comments from people who have said, I've just bought a really old motorhome and we're touring Europe on it. So no problem at all. So there's two schools of thought, and it's nice to hear from people who are actually doing it, who have the motorhome and they bought an old one and it's working fine for them. So I'm going to kind of go with that school of thought. But yeah, this one, they've just had a brand new, a complete engine overhaul. It's MOT'd. There's some issues on the MOT, some advisories, which might need sorting out, but then you could probably offer them less for it. Anyway, I can't afford to buy this thing now, but my point is that these things are around and they're local, and it's great. If they're local, it means I can have a good look at it, I can take it out for a drive, I can get someone to come and inspect it, check the engine over, I could knock them down, hopefully get a really good deal. And this is quite a nice motorhome actually. It was a Fiat Ducato. It was a 2006, so it is 20 years old, but all looks nice, all looks good. A couple of advisories. The advisories actually were, funny enough, were the tyres were 10 years old, so they haven't changed the tyre. They've gotten through the MOTs, but they haven't changed the tyres. I mean, it's not going to cost a great deal, is it? 4 tyres, what's that, 400 quid max? So yeah, that was really encouraging, seeing that there is stuff about, and let's hope that we get the same stuff about next March, when I can actually access the pension and have some money in the bank to act on it. And then we come to my spreadsheet issue. Well, I've managed to sort it out. I've looked at it and I thought, okay, all right, I can either do one or the other. I can have income from my my pension pot, or I can have it growing, and then I draw it down. Either way, it still works out, still manages to keep us going for 7 years. We still end up with quite a lot of money still in the bank. When my wife's pension kicks in, things really turn around, and we can probably start putting more money away. And if we invest it right, we can increase our income gradually over the years, which would be brilliant. Then when my pension kicks in at in 12 years time, and I'm 67 or whatever, unless it's 70 by then, it might be. So but either way, the plan is keep myself fit and healthy, keep both of us fit and healthy, and then when we get old, because I have had questions about what are you going to do when you get old. Well, exactly, don't know yet. It's hard to plan, isn't it? I might get old before I get old, if you know what I mean. It depends on health really, but this is one big reason why we're not going to ever go for an annuity, because that gives up all of our capital. What we can do is we can generate income with the capital, have it invested right, the income might be a lot lower, or a little bit lower than an annuity. Not a massive amount lower, to be honest, but we'll still have that capital. So if and when we get really old and decrepit, and we live that long, and we haven't moved to France, we could then come back to the UK. We'll have our pensions to live on. We can then use the lump sum to maybe rent a property till the end of our days, and that would cover it. I haven't budgeted exactly what that will look like, because I don't know what rents will be like in the future. I really don't. Also, some people saying that there won't be a state pension. Well, there'll be something. The rise of AI, there is talk about the AI taking over pretty much all jobs, and then the government's then dishing out a universal basic income instead, and that might replace pensions. I don't know, but there's all these things in the balance, really, isn't there? And these are unknowns. All I can do is I can plan based on what we do know, and that's what we're doing. And then lastly, I alluded to it in the last video, we have got a really lovely dream holiday planned for when we do retire. Now this kind of pivots on us selling the property, really, though. Again, the property could drag on. So yeah, but not to be negative. Let's hope the property sells as quick as possible. We get everything sorted out. We have the motorhome. My wife has always wanted, or for a long time has wanted, to visit the fjords in Norway. But we've looked into various cruises and flights over there, and cruise trips over there, and that sort of stuff. And they cost thousands, cost a lot of money. However, if we have the motorhome and we don't have to get back for work, we've got 3 months in the the Schengen area that we can travel around. So we've looked at driving to Norway. Now it's going to be a hell of a trip. Be really good fun. I'll cover the budget in a second, all right? Just indulge me. So we'd be driving, we get a ferry over to Calais from Dover. We would then drive through France, through Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, and then up through Denmark, cross various big bridges, and there's a couple of short ferries, I think, as well, up into Norway, and then to Sognefjord, which is on the southern west coast, which is where they also then do boat trips. And the boat trips cost about anything from 100 to a few £100 per person, depending on how many hours you want to go. But the beauty is, up in Norway and Sweden, we might even go through Sweden, they allow wild camping. They're very, very loose on wild camping over there. But we've also I've downloaded a couple of apps, and there's a couple of paid for apps as well. I can't remember what they're called now. Camper Stop. There's these brilliant apps anyway that have a map, and they show you all the prices of where you can stay in Europe, wherever you are, and stuff. Really, really handy. So we're going to be downloading all of those. I've kind of worked out that we should be able to almost stop overnight for free all the way there, if we do it right, and depending on availability. But it should be fairly easy. It just means it won't be a campsite. It might be like a motorhome park, but they'll have all the facilities and everything else. And we're not fussed about getting the awning out every night. We're just just park up, go to sleep, and then get on the road the next day. The trip will take, I've estimated, around a week to get there. You could probably do it in 3-4 days, but if I took a week and then we get up there, we could spend maybe a couple of weeks in Norway, and then we take another week to come back. Even if we did 10 days there, 10 days back, 2 weeks there, what's that, a month? Excuse all this noise. The wind's got up, the rain's got up, which is why I can't be out on my bike today, so I've taken half the day off. So yeah, we'd be away about a month. No problem at all. Get travel insurance, get breakdown cover, get all of that. I've budgeted. Now my motorhome budget of living in the motorhome and doing the 90-day back and forth to Europe and stuff, to France mainly to look for a property, is the budget's around anything from 1,300 to 1,500 a month. And I've covered all your breakdown. I'll go through spreadsheet another time, but I've covered everything I can think of, apart from eating out lavishly and other big luxury items. It's basically buying in a supermarket, cooking in the van. So yeah, the budget for the living in the motorhome is about sort of 1,300 to 1,500 a month for the both of us, and the Norway trip would cost us around 1,500 plus maybe a few hundred, basically, for the boat trip around the fjords, which is like a few hour thing. So I've budgeted for £1,000 on top of our normal monthly outgoings, so £2,500, and I reckon we'll have change out of that. So that has really ignited our dream for what we're doing. It means we can get a holiday, because we thought about holiday. I thought, we go to Florida, we go to New York, go on a cruise, fly down the south of France, go to Nice and all this as a bit of a holiday, a bit of a celebration for retirement, but it's going to end up blowing a lot of budget. So this way we can incorporate it into the travel, and we're off traveling, we're in Europe, and we're experiencing going through border controls, and we're experiencing life in the motorhome. So it'll be a really great experience through lots of different countries. It's about 1,500 miles, I think, to get there. Maybe actually 1,500 kilometers, actually, I think. But the whole trip would be about 2,000-3,000 miles. Well, when I used to drive down the south of France, which we would do tons of the times, with the trip down there is 700 miles back, what's that, 1,400 miles plus all the mileage down there. It was nearly a 2,000 mile round trip anyway, so shouldn't be an issue. Obviously we'll have breakdown cover. Now, talking about breakdowns, we once went to we went 9 years in a row we went to the south of France with our kids, and we broke down one time we were just leaving, so I was due to drive back, and then in a couple of days I had to go back to work, which didn't quite happen. It was a Vauxhall Vectra that we had with a trailer. It wasn't a trailer tent, but we had all the tent in the trailer, and the Vectra broke down. It was I think it was a major, like a gearbox problem or something like that. It's pretty major. It wasn't going anywhere. So we had to we had AA European travel cover, which got us into like a hotel. So we were literally just leaving our campsite after having been there for 2 weeks. And I remember sitting on the beach in Nice waiting for a phone call, and this was about 6 o'clock in the evening, a phone call telling us where we were staying that night. It was a bit stressful, but we dealt with it. We ended up having to do taxis back and forth to the garage. The garage ripped us off by shoving an extra cam belt on, which wasn't part of the issue, but they decided to put it on there anyway, even though I told the AA I don't want them to do it. A bit of a nightmare, but we claimed it all back, and it probably cost us a couple of £100 out of our own pockets, which we shoved on credit cards at the time. But what I'm saying is, there was us, a family of 4, 2 young kids, sitting on a beach in Nice at 6 p.m. in the evening, no car, no transport, waiting for a phone call. Yeah, it's stressful, but you deal with it. You just deal with it. You're still in the Western world. It's still okay. So if we were in the motorhome breaks down, I'm going to have a tent spare. Worst case scenario. What are you going to do in the winter? Well, we'll just book a hotel. We'll still have money in the bank. This is why it's absolutely imperative that we have that money in the bank and not have all of our eggs in just one annuity basket where that income's coming in, but if there's a major expense that we need to get money for, then and I've got no capital to touch, then that could be a problem. So it's just not suitable for us. It really isn't for what we want to do. So yeah, that's the plan. So not only are we retiring early, I'm retiring at 55, my wife will be 60 this year. She's a little bit older than me, but we're going to be living life in a motorhome, life on the road. We'll have no house, and it's going to be a little bit nomadic for a while, and then we'll eventually buy a property, hopefully in France, for cheap as chips, 20-30 grand, something we can kind of move into and camp in, if you like, while we eventually do it up. Might treat it as a holiday home, or we might go full-on visa and spend a lot more time there. Which will involve moving all of our taxes over and declaring our income and everything else, which we'll do. We know people that have done it, and it's not a problem. But yeah, the Norway trip has kind of reignited a lot of the excitement that we had around retiring, because there's a lot to plan. There is a lot to plan, and if we don't plan it, I'm sure we'd still wing it, but we'd probably run out of money a lot sooner, if we run out of money at all. So I'm sure that won't be the only problems that we have. I'm sure there'll be plenty more, but there'll also be plenty more upsides. That's what I'm hoping. In the meantime, thanks for everyone that is subscribing to the channel, watching our videos, helping me with the super thanks. Thanks again to all of the channel members as well. Really appreciate your support. And remember, if you see it, please smash that hype button. I'll look forward to seeing you all soon. Cheers.